All right, this is a practice test that someone put together, kind of all over the place, different stuff. So here we go with part one. The first one, it gives you the equation of the first graph, and then it's just asking what's the equation of the g of x. If you put these on the calculator, you're going to figure this out really quickly. They're trying to get you to recognize kind of this pattern that, oh, well, if this one is x squared minus 1, this one is x squared minus 8, okay? All right, number 2 is just reading a graph. If the charges were 6750, so I've got to look over here at my charges, okay? Now, the key is you've got to know what you're counting by. Half of 25 is 1250, which would put this one at 3750 and would put that one at 6250. And so then if I'm looking at 6750, I know I'm somewhere between these two. So if I come over here, I'm falling somewhere in that row, which, all right, if I look here, I'm counting by 2, 2 1/4, that would be 2 1/2, 2.75, and 3. So I am between 2.5 and 2.75. It's just reasonableness, okay? Number 3 is another just basic fundamental reading a graph. Which of the following conclusions is not reasonable? When you are taking your test, you have a highlighter, or you have your pencil or whatever, please mark and highlight and color the fact that this is a not reasonable question, okay? More rain fell in April than September. There's April, there's September. That is true, so it's not the answer because I'm looking for not. August was the month with the least rainfall. Yeah, this is like kind of a Mickey Mouse question, like super simple. More rain fell in June than April and July combined. Well, June looks like it's about 4.4. Let's see, April is 2.5. July is like 2, maybe 2.2. Doesn't look like it's quite up to 2 1/4. If I add those together, I get 4.7-ish. That's not more. But just to be sure, let's look at the last one. From 1 to 4.4 inches of rain fell in each of the months recorded. Well, yeah, the lowest month was 1, the highest month was 4.4. So yeah, that one is true. Leaving C for the answer. Number 4, which of the following is not functional? Remember, functional has to pass the vertical line test. So if I imagine each of these, I know it's going to have to do with repeating values. So I look, this one doesn't have any repeating values anywhere, so it is definitely a function. Again, I'm looking for not a function. The other things, this one doesn't have any repeating values. So it is a function, which means it's not the answer, okay? So now I just got to figure out, well, where do the repeats have to go? If I look at B and graph this, I have one +9 and one -9. That right there fails the vertical line test, so that one is not a function. Number 5, what is the dependent variable? They give you this function. I mean, they give you a lot of explanation and everything, but if they give you a formula, the dependent variable is always your output, okay? I would input to that variable, and whatever I get as the answer is my output. The output is the dependent. So this is really a very simple question. B is my dependent variable. Number 6 is just asking for the rate that he writes his composition. This is another way to ask for the slope, okay? But if you look at it, it's just saying how many sentences per minute is he writing? Well, if I look even at this dot right here, he's writing 30 sentences every 20 minutes. Well, if I simplify that down, I'm going to divide by 10 and get 3/2. And then 3/2 is 1.5 sentences per minute. So my answer is C. Okay? Number 7, we are trying to write a scenario that matches this formula. The one key I can tell you is you're going to be looking for something with that 10x that says for each or every or per something, okay? So even as I just scan my answers here, well, there I have $10 each. Here I have $10 each. Here I have a $10 processing fee. That's not showing me $10 for every single thing. So C is out. And here I have $10 an hour, which again, it's $10 an hour is like $10 for every hour, okay? Now, the first two answer choices I think are pretty confusing. X is new, Y is used. Well, I want 10X. So it would have to be 10 for every new in order for this to work. Well, this says with used DVDs costing $10 each. No, $10 for the new ones, so A is out. This one does say $10 each for the new DVDs. So let's look at the rest of it. The cost of X new and Y used with the used DVDs costing $18 each. Well, that would indicate that I'm going to have 18 times my used ones, like 18 times Y. That's not what's happening in this function. So let's look at our last option, $10 an hour with an additional $18 processing fee. That is a very familiar wording that we have seen before, okay? Number 8, this is just an MX plus B question, okay? What's the linear function? So my B is up here at +3. I know this is not the greatest graph to read, but it is at +3. And then if I look at my slope, am I going up 3 over 4 or am I going up 4 over 3? Remember, it's the rise over the run. Well, if I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, it keeps me on my line. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So A is my answer. Okay? All right, number 9. Just writing a formula for this. We've got a charge of $7 cents per minute. So there's where I start seeing, oh, 7 times the minutes. Cannot stress that enough. And then it's, oh, I skipped that there's a $25 basic fee. So then I have a basic initial fee of $25. So which one matches? Gotta be B. C looks close, but if you look, it's multiplication instead. That doesn't work so much here, okay? All right, let me go ahead and do a couple more questions. I think I can fit in maybe 1 or 2 more. Number 10. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, if this being the next question. Hector and Martha recently collected 32 new stamps. Okay, that's the good news. So if I add Hector and Martha together, I get 32. This is gonna help narrow me down a little bit, okay? I've got this one works, that one works, this one does not. It's not that Hector has 32 times Martha, and it's not that if I subtract him, I get 32. So let's just completely ignore those. Then it says if Hector gives 4 of his new stamps to Martha, Martha will have 3 times as many new stamps as Hector. So if Hector's giving away 4 stamps, he's losing 4 stamps, right? Well, where are those 4 stamps going? Martha is gaining 4 stamps. Okay, so that's where I'm getting this h minus 4m plus 4 in both of these functions, or both of these equations. Then it says Martha will have 3 times as many stamps as Hector. So what Hector has now, if I triple it, it will equal what Martha has now. Does that kind of make sense? I hope. So A is my answer. All right, that's all I can fit on this video. So come back for the next section.